Hello, hello, and happy Thursday, everyone! For you romance readers out there, you've probably been hearing more and more online, through reviews, and in general about something called the third act breakup. This has become surprisingly polarized in the romance genre world, so let's talk about what it is, why it's so prevalent, and why people are now trying to avoid it, both successfully and unsuccessfully. I love romance books, as predictable as they may be at times. There's just something so comforting about being able to know that no matter what the author puts their characters through, you know things are going to end okay, or okay-ish to you happily for now fans. And yes, there are some books that are heavier on the plot, so having a side plot in addition to the romance arc versus fully focused on just the romance, and there are some books that have more of a story to their romance, others that are just pure spice. It takes all kinds, and for a relatively standardized genre in some ways, there are some huge variations, especially with the uprising of self-publishing, KU, and other indie publishing options. But up until recently, one of the biggest standardizations, arguably, in romance, and one of the most popular market expectations has been what has been termed the third act breakup. For anyone unfamiliar, generally romance stories follow a plot structure that highlights a big conflict between the main characters at about the 75% mark in the story, in the third act. This turning point is many times termed the darkest night. This is where the characters are at their lowest, they're having the hardest times, when you're really going to pull on your readers' heartstrings and bring them to tears. But because this is romance, the main plot focusing on the relationship between the two or more main characters, that turning point, that hard-hitting moment, generally needs to be something big between them and the evolution of their relationship. And what is the biggest issue, concern, gut-wrenching moment of a relationship? A breakup. For whatever reason, misunderstanding, betrayal, disconnect, confusion, it can take all shapes and sizes, but it's all boiled down to being under the umbrella of that one term, the third act breakup. And for a long time, this was very much a given in the genre. You couldn't read a romance book without it. But now, more than ever before, readers are calling for something different. They're tired of the same old breakup only to reunite routine. Even though they want that happily ever after, the readers want more, new, different. The argument is that not all relationships need to crash and burn, need to be all or nothing, to have that growth and resolve in the end. And they're not wrong. So now many authors are attempting to write heartwarming and heart-wrenching stories, but not pulling that final thread, finding other ways to get the characters to realize their flaws, push them past their issues, and get them to that happily ever after, without the third act breakup. And I'm here for it. And it can be done. For a fun example, I actually just finished The Right Move by Liz Tomfordy. Liz, if you ever see this, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I finished that book not too long ago, and I think the author did a great job with this. Now, if you don't want spoilers for this book, skip over this part and jump to the time below to continue with the rest of the video without hearing what happens. The Right Move is a great sports romance. It's NBA, best friend's older brother, forced proximity. It does have some trigger warnings, including in regards to infertility, so definitely take note of that before you dive in if needed. But it was great because the characters growing together figure out what they need, how to become who they need to be for themselves and for each other, but they don't break up in the third act. They do take a break from each other. They give each other space. They work on themselves and they come together in the end, but it is not a breakup. Now, this may seem like a fine line, but if you read enough romance, you can really feel the difference. Taking that space, figuring yourself out, it's a very rational, mature way to still have that really dark moment of the plot, the relationship, without needing the over-angst of an epic breakup, misunderstanding, chaos-driven turning point. Was it still heartbreaking? Totally. Did I hate seeing my characters go through it, but continue to root for them to get over their issues and insecurities? You bet I did. The key here is that they didn't need to break up to make me do that. It was fabulous. So it can be done. And this is by no means the only way. It's just an example that came to me because I'd read it recently. But here's the issue authors are running into with trying to pivot like this. You need to recognize the difference between angst and conflict. So many readers nowadays are running far and wide from high angst, the big third act breakup, and other massive drama and romance stories. They're not here for it anymore. Always. But in trying to avoid that, many authors are avoiding conflict altogether, or focusing only on the external or subplot conflict, and then wondering why their book is flopping. You can avoid angst, but your story still needs conflict, especially relationship conflict. Without it, it's just a happy epilogue. Cute, but boring. And a story without risk isn't going to captivate your readers, at least not for very long. We as romance readers love conflict because we know it's going to end up okay in the end. It's the whole draw of the genre. The worst things can happen to our main characters, but we know somehow it's going to work out. It doesn't need to be a huge breakup, third act or otherwise, but to truly have a romance book, to embrace a love story plot, you need conflict and growth. You need your characters to have to push themselves to be better for themselves, for the relationship, and to come out on the other side, not perfect, but able to have that happily ever after. If the characters are able to have that growth without focusing on the relationship or without the partner or partners, is it really a romance? So if you're writing or editing your romance, don't feel like you have to have that traditional third act breakup. But think twice before avoiding conflict, because you still want to hook your readers and their heartstrings. Hopefully this has been helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next week, keep writing.